Welcome back to The Exchange. The Brexit drama continues with Prime Minister Boris Johnson speaking just moments ago, saying he doesn't want an election but sees no other way. He's promising not to delay Brexit. Listen.
Can you make a promise today to the British public that you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And sorry.
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
Memorable line there. Where do we go from here on Brexit? Joining me now are Nile Gardiner, director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom, and CNBC contributor Michelle Caruso-Cabrera. So, Michelle, boil this down for us. Does everything that's happened this week with Brexit make it more or less likely that there's going to be a hard Brexit on that October 31 deadline?
Less likely. The Parliament has outmaneuvered him and is working to pass a law that says it's going to prohibit him from doing anything without a deal. So, hard exit on the 31st, which the markets had really been set up for,
right?
Unlikely. That's why you see the pound climbing today. However, that doesn't mean that Brexit is not going to happen. We're going to have an election, it looks like, and that's going to be the decisive factor.
And Niall, tell us about this election. Is this, the whole population turns out and basically votes to give him another sign of support for Brexit or not?
Well, Boris Johnson is calling for a general election on October the 15th, and the polling indicates that the Conservatives certainly will receive a majority as a result of this election, if indeed it is held, I think, in mid-October. So I think the outlook actually looks very good for the Conservatives moving forward. If you combine the projected Conservative vote, about 35%, with that of the Brexit Party at 14%, that's nearly 50% of the population there. So there's a good reason why the Labour Party is not supporting a general election, because they would be absolutely significantly defeated in this election. And I think that the election certainly would result in a significant majority for the Conservatives and a pro-Brexit majority. And I definitely hope that the Parliament votes in favour on Monday of a general election. This is the best thing to do now for Britain.
But now,
it's the only way to move forward.
So that's very interesting that you think a mid-October election would instill a larger pro-Brexit majority in Parliament and maybe strengthen the current Prime Minister's mandate. Is there a chance that Parliament will not go along with that and not approve that election?
Yeah, there's certainly a good chance that Parliament is going to vote against another general election, because Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader, is running scared at the moment. And he knows that the Labour Party will be heading for defeat. And therefore, Corbyn so far has not backed a general election on October the 15th. And I think that in order to solve this impasse, there has to be a general election. Boris Johnson has made it 100% clear he's not going to seek an extension of Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union, which would extend the date for Brexit. And therefore, I do believe the only way forward here is for a general election vote on this matter. And I think that there is definitely a majority in favour of acting decisively over Brexit.
So, Michelle, in that case, things kind of move ahead quite quickly, but that's not the only possible outcome here.
Well, so I agree with Niall a lot there. I think what's being argued about is when will there be another election. I agree with him that they should have one. There's got to be something definitive about what the British people want. People have called Boris Johnson undemocratic because he suspended the Parliament. But the British people
voted for Brexit 3 years ago.
The British people voted to leave, and they haven't left. And some people are screaming for a second vote. Well, this election would be exactly that. If Boris Johnson says we're going to leave under any circumstances, we are going. That's your levers. And then if you don't want to leave, then vote for the other side, and we can finally have an answer. A confirmation or not of what happened in 2016.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about some of the internal drama playing out in Britain, the forces that are for and against. What about the European Union? Can they stop this? How much power do they have to stop or slow this thing down if he ends up saying, I have a mandate, we're leaving, that's it?
Well, I think it defangs them a lot, right? I mean, Theresa May went into the negotiations with them as somebody who actually really in her heart wanted to remain, so she was very, very soft in her negotiations. I think if she probably had far more leverage than she realized, and if she'd said, we're going to leave, I think she could have cut a better deal, right? I mean, this whole thing with Boris Johnson was set up to try to achieve that. And what Parliament's now is really kind of hamstrung him, wrested foreign policy away from him, and taken away any leverage he had, because his leverage to them was, if you don't give us a better deal, we're gone. And can you, Europe, accept those financial consequences.
Right, and his only option now is to get a stronger hand, basically, because he's just been weakened already with the one he has. Thank you both. Clarity for me, at least, which I very much appreciate, Nile Gardiner and Michelle Caruso Cabrera. Coming up.